everybody thinks they have insight and connections to the, to Gail Benson and, inside the organization, but that there may be a little bit of shakeup with the administration.
I think they've been. It's been mismanaged in the sense that probably the last 2 or 3 years should have been spent clearing cap space, knowing that you didn't have the opportunity, you didn't have the talent level to get to the Super Bowl. So therefore, let's start clearing. Let's start clearing things out. Cam Jordan should have never been signed for an extension. It's a lot of sentimental type of extensions that were bad business deals. You got to be cold-blooded in this business. What you have to do is say, "Hey, Cam, thank you for the 12 years, but we're done with you." And not those words, but
basically. It's Badger same way, I mean, let me tell you, in a zone, he can read and he knows he's got a little life left in terms of getting to the ball. He's still got that honey badger effect, but he can't guard anybody man to man. He's undersized and can't tackle. I've been watching him the last 5 or 6 games, and instead of sticking his head in there and trying to tackle somebody, he'll kind of push around a little bit and stand around and let somebody else do it. It's time. It's time for him to go. And again, there are a handful of players that like that. It's time. Good riddance. You've done a great job, but
I think. I'm just. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But I think Aaron Glenn is the best candidate for the Saints. He's got it all. And I just like when I listened to him, because I was totally against him until I listened to him talk about what he's done to prepare to be a head coach. And I think that is just. I think he sees it on all sides, and I think he would be the guy. Now, we're all watching the playoffs. Tell me this: how many starters for the Saints could start from one of these playoff teams?
Well, there are no Pro Bowlers, so that
Right. I mean, maybe McCoy, maybe Kamara. I think that's about it. Maybe Davis.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of these other players would start for a lot of these playoff teams. I don't think there are very few. Which also is sort of the mismanagement. I think the mismanagement has been two ways. One, the cap, and just running up the credit card, which is now due, and it's just hitting us in the face. And number two, the evaluation of your players after you draft them as to whether to keep them or let them go. And you see Henderson from Cincinnati, 17.5 sacks. You see Marcus Williams. You see a lot of Bondell. You see all these players who the Saints actually drafted who got away because we were in cap hell, trying to being in perpetual cap difficulties or overextended, and you could not keep them.
Right.
So those are 2 things they're going to have to overcome. I would hopefully this year they would do the opposite of what they typically do: trade back, get a lot of draft picks. I'm not saying tank this next year, but start all over with young new players like Lions did 4 years ago. Dan Campbell, I think he was 2-14 when he first started, and then he was 9-8. And just sort of build a culture over the course of 3 or 4 years, and you might have the opportunity. And then I guess you got to make a decision on whether Spencer Rattler is your future or you get someone else. But we'll see. But this is going to be a process where we probably are not going to be a serious playoff contender for at least 3 years, and that we just have to build a new culture and a new foundation. To maybe be successful.
The good news about it all is that we're in probably still the worst division in the NFL. So, a 50% increase in, whatever we're talking about might get you to that point, right? I mean, the other 2 teams that were ahead of us in the NFL and the league, 3 games left, we were a game out. and so, there's still that chance. Just because now, are you going to win a playoff game? Probably not, but it wouldn't be bad to win a division, and that's a milestone, and I think that could be doable in next year. You win 9 games, which could you win the right 9 games, maybe that can get you into the playoffs, and all of a sudden your fan base has a reason to show up on Sundays.
I'm not looking forward to facing Michael Penix the next 10 years. Atlanta. I think he's going to be a thorn in the side for the Saints. And Baker Mayfield is your probably a little better than Derek Carr, a little more mobility. He's probably got a ceiling of 10 wins a year, a floor of about 7. He can beat you.
It reminds me a lot of Brett Favre. He's a gunslinger, tough player. He'll throw almost as many interceptions as he will touchdowns. But I think at the end of the day, he's a winner, and he's got that desire and drive to do whatever he needs to do, and it's that intangible that makes a difference. And I wish that the Saints would have picked him up when he was floating around, and
they would have picked him up for $4 million. That was his market value for that first year. So I mean, he was basically minimum. He was on the scrap heap at the time, and he was minimum salary at that time. And he was. We all have hindsight, but a lot.
I mean, I was cheering for him. I mean, I was like, okay, this is a guy that can come in and mix things up a little bit. He's always had skills, and I don't know if it was a problem reading or whatever, but but he's a guy that's not going to take the sack. He's going to put the ball in the air and try to throw somebody open, and if it's an interception, all right, we'll get you next series.
Now, before we take a break, what do you think about that John Gruden? Would he be a Ditka hire? Would he be like a Ditka hire 25 years ago?
Well, here's the problem, I think, with him. He's been out of football for too long, right? So it was kind of like when Sean Payton came back. He's able to get back. He was able to get back in the groove when he went to Denver and had a kind of a new start. But the biggest obstacle to your next success is your last success. And I think, like, for instance, when Sean Payton took that year off, and he was, videos of him partying down in the Bahamas and, sleeping in and doing all those things that you can't do as a head coach. It's hard to get back on that horse and work 12-hour days, 14-hour days, whatever they're working, putting that time in at that point in his career, especially after he had some success with the Saints. And I think that's the same thing with Gruden. Gruden's just been kind of living the life. He's been on TV. He's more of a celebrity, I guess. And it makes me wonder the extent of the drive that he would still have. Just kind of left in the tank.
No, I think he would be like a Ditka hire. Even though I'm crazy, I love the guy. I would love for him to live down the street from me. And I'd drop in on him every day and say, hey, man, what's happening? And, he's got a great personality. He's a lot of fun, but I think he would be something akin to hiring Ditka in 1967. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, with lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout. Man, that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. Who is that? I don't know. Frankie. Okay.
Celebration with the magical crew of Mad Hatters. Saturday, January 18th at Mardi Gras World. 7th Are you doing did the New Year's Day attack sway your Mardi Gras plans at all?
We're going to Cabo. We're going to Cabo San Lucas. So we go out of town for Mardi Gras. I used to be the MC for this parade during the week at Gallia Hall. But they lost their permit because they lost their permit.
Yeah, you might not want to say.
So I'm not doing it anymore. But no, I was going to talk about estate planning at the beginning. A lot of people,
As always.
just say.
Because the last couple of times we were on, I think the last time we were on, we talked about lawyers not being universally loved and stuff involving the Corporate Transparency Act.
Yes.
Also, like in the show before that, we talked about what lawyers do and like trial prep and how that actually looks like.
Yes. That was a good.
1040 or visit us at GoTaxResolution.com. That's GEAUX taxresolution.com.
For Mardi Gras supplies, head to Jefferson Variety Stores, specializing in specialty beads, throw beads, trinkets, boas, masks, hats, and plenty more. At Jefferson Variety Stores, open 7 days a week. Visit them at 239 Iris Avenue in Old Jefferson or online at jeffersonvariety.com. Saturday morning, start your day off with Danielle and the Garden Show. Saturdays from 9 to 11 a.m. Brought to you by Banting's Nursery. Trusted since 1926 for all your lawn and garden pest control needs. Visit bantingsnursery.com and tune in Saturdays from 9 to 11 a.m. If you're building a new home.
Who are you liking in the college football playoff championship? We'll have one more show between now and then, though.
I liked with the Final Four Ohio State because I think it's a destiny team.
The second Ohio State is Mansfield, Tennessee.
I think they're a destiny team.
I think them losing to Oregon was understandable. They had to travel to Oregon. Oregon was the number one team in the nation. That was a very close game. Ohio State could have won it, that kind of deal. The Michigan thing is just the Michigan thing. It's a mental hurdle that you just cannot get over. Like even the best Ohio State team, which looks like it is right now, at least looking like the best. I don't know if it's the best. It's just they're getting hot at the right time. But I was I don't know. I wasn't too surprised Georgia got beat by Notre Dame. I was a little surprised Penn State didn't put up more than 5.
Yes. I think Ohio State's just. I think there's a lot more parity in the and there's no dynasties anymore. There's no Clemson's. There's no Georgia. No. I mean, I think they're all a lot of parity, and I think the portal's doing that. Well, they'd rather invest their money into players who put skins on the wall rather than ones who may put skins on the wall. Yeah, it's a smart bet. It's a smart bet.
Tax relief advocates is different. TRA is going to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available.
I gotta go one up next.
Press start. Our passion is taxes. And
I gotta go one up next, and you should let it rock for a second or
so. All right, we'll do.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect.
That's another deep cut, Colin. Who is that? You stumping me today on Name That Tune.
You don't know this one?
No.
Central Line.
There you go. You're
going deep on me.
You texted me yesterday. You asked me to do deep cuts.
You said I know. We talk about like Four Tops and Temptations and spinners, but you're going deep this time. We're back. Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you can lawyers all things legal. I would be remiss to Albert talk a little bit about what happened on January 1st. I was in California of all places for New Year's. And turned on the TV and saw the news. And actually what I did was wasn't getting enough information, so I went to Odyssey.com. And it seemed like whatever WWL had, about an hour or two later, the national news was reporting. So kudos to Dave Cohen and Ian, who did a fantastic job in reporting a very, very tragic event. But there's a lot of dimensions of this, and I guess on the legal or political side, I sort of watched the coverage, and I watched a lot of the commentary, and my conclusion is this, and I'll give an analogy. Let's say you live in New Orleans, okay? It's always a possibility that your house would be robbed. Just because you live in the city. I mean, anywhere you live in the city, there's always that possibility that would happen. Just like in New Orleans, or during a big celebration in French Quarter, there's always the possibility of a terrorist type of attack. So that's just the world we live in right now. But if I'll go back to the analogy, if you live in a house at home, and have a home in New Orleans, if you leave the house and leave your home unlocked when you go to work, you'll make it a lot easier for the robbers or the burglars to come in and burglarize your home. And I think that's the same analogy that I saw regarding the city of New Orleans. From the mayor on down, is you can't stop terrorist attacks, but you can mitigate the effectiveness of one. And I think what happened is, looking in hindsight, basically the city of New Orleans left the home unlocked, and it made it easy for the burglar to go in there and steal. And I thought that was probably, and I guess the question of why that happened will be answered. I guess maybe not. I don't know. I doubt that this mayor would want to find out the answers, because I don't think she would want to know the answer, because it probably have fingers pointing back at her.
You know what? Listen, assuming that the bollards were in place, right? Assuming that they were there, you got a truck. You can come down, Iberville, Bienville, right? And take out a whole bunch of people, and stop your truck at Bourbon Street after you've killed 15 people crossing that, and set off your bombs or get out and shoot. It's it's hard to stop a terrorist attack.
It is.
Somebody could have walked in with a briefcase and walked through a hotel, walked out onto Bourbon Street, and just started shooting people. I mean, it happens, almost weekly down on Bourbon Street, where there's some shooting, or at least monthly, where 2-3 o'clock in the morning there's all this. So it's just, I think when a tragedy strikes, people want to find blame, and they want to be able to point the finger at certain people, and obviously you start at the top with the mayor and the police chief, 15 people. But I don't, crossing. Even if the bollards were up, if somebody wants to come.
I agree.
They can do it. I mean, now, like you said, did it make it a little easier? There was a car parked across there, which police cars, and they just went on the sidewalk. We never
set
had
off
plans
your bombs or get out and shoot.
Could someone have fit a truck between the closest bollard to a building? Or I don't know.
Well, I guess
again, like you, I'm not a super fan of LaToya. I don't think she needs to be going to all of these climate conferences and spending the city's money when the city, can't even fix potholes. What's it brought her, right? What has it brought back to our city? Nothing. And so, if I'm the city council, I restrict those funds and say you can't do it. If you do it, you're going to pay us back. But again,
and again,
people want to find blame. Even if those were there, somebody wants to get in, they can devise a plan to do, mostly what they wanted to do without, zooming down Bourbon Street.
No, I agree. They would have been I think the alternative would have been. They could, like I said, they could have gone down Albertville, they could have gone down St. Louis, they could have done a lot of harm, even St. Peter, and do a certain amount of harm. But I guess what I'm saying is, what you have to do is, we live in New Orleans now. It's a event destination. You have to be forward thinking, and you have to say, have this not in a reactive mode, but in a proactive mode. In other words, saying, look, this is the reality of New Year's Eve. This is the reality of the Sugar Bowl. This is the reality of Mardi Gras. Okay. What proactively, what are some of the vulnerabilities? And let's address them before, then as opposed to after. And you really need forward-thinking people.
You got to do the best you can do, right? Yeah. Same thing with the fires in California. Now the whole draining the reservoir, somebody's got to get to the bottom of that. Because that's just stupid, and I know I was talking to someone from California last night, and he's in his 80s. He's been there all his life, and he said, one of the biggest problems is, he said, they have these winds that come about this time every year, and they get 60, 70 mile an hour winds. I wasn't aware of that. I never thought California got those kind of winds at all, but they do. And he said, so that's when the state is very vulnerable. And he said, normally we get some rain in October, November, December. He said, we got none at all. So he said, a lot of that would have, helped saturate some of the soils and, fill some of the reservoirs with the rain.
Some of the soils and, fill some of the reservoirs with the rain.
He said, but he said, now in terms of it being empty, he said they need to follow up with that. And that's a big fault. And if they're doing it because, of some species of fish, and they're diverting it into the ocean, you hear all kind of theories, and who knows what's true. But, then that's just stupid. You're going to endanger people's lives for something stupid like that. Let the reservoir fill up and use that water.
Well, I think again, with the focus is sort of, I guess, demonstrating is that really government, especially local government. Local government's about traffic, potholes, protection, and infrastructure. And what you found was a lot of local governments in the United States, including ours, has gotten off track as to what is the objective of a mayor. What is the objective of your local government? It's really not Republican, Democrat, because potholes, crime, all those type of traffic infrastructure is not a party platform. It is common to all. And for some reason, in a lot of these big cities, including ours, we have not focused on the prime objective of government, to protect us. To be able to have roads, that doesn't take out your transmission, to have a degree of safety, to have some infrastructure where you can conduct your business. And so you sort of seeing what is the manifestation of that, and more so in California is today, because the emphasis is on a lot of other things that don't matter. Whatever it might be, climate change or whatever, some social issue of the day, or the cultural issue of the day. And so, it's just sort of an interesting dynamics, and we hope that whoever's they learn from it, and hopefully Mardi Gras and Super Bowls and Sugar Bowls in the future, they'll be able to mitigate this and maybe not leave the house unlocked. for something like this to happen again. So, all right, let's go to break. Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief break.
All right, let's go to break. Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back.
Always love to tell you, see what's happening with the Saints search for his thoughts on the college and NFL football playoffs. Plus, we'll continue to bring the latest on the Bourbon Street terror attack. That and a whole lot more.
Caller called in and I was.
Oh, we got a text.
We did.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you read the text? Colin.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want to have your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately.
Okay.
Throw that mail piece in the trash at your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As we only need 500 timeshare cancellation companies. Our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of the timeshare.
Okay.
Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare information.
Not a problem.
Free, with the straight facts about your timeshare and all our music.
Okay.
As always, we went a little long.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I get it.
21. It's a new year. Aren't you ready to
Call
get the IRS
next week.
I'm attorney Gary Price. We've got so many people to figure out the IRS, and they always tell us they wish they called us. Friends, the IRS isn't going away. Matter of fact, they are ramping up their efforts. So now's the time to call the Vice and Law Firm and let us get between you and the IRS.
I just passed it along. I'll read it out.
Yeah, you read it out.
Like Howard knows that if he
Yeah.
has to think about it or he's got to pull something up.
It divides your best investment. IRS problems are legal problems. So call the Vice and Law Firm. We're local. Our headquarters.
Did you get that last one? That last track?
Statewide.
The what? The
Vice and Law Firm.
Track song?
no. Who was it?
Curtis Mayfield's so in love.
Gosh, you just like killing me. I'm like striking out this morning.
You know all of it, right?
I know Curtis Mayfield very well, but you going really deep. You going like
I'll bring it back to the
At Jefferson Variety Stores, open 7 days a week. Visit them at 299 Iris Avenue in Jefferson or online at jeffersonvariety.com. The election is over and the new pro-business administration is about to begin. At Switch Funding, we're ready to help America's small businesses thrive in 25. Whether it's for cash flow, expansion, or new equipment, Switch Funding has flexible funding up to
Oh, yeah, I got a good one.
$1 million. You can get a decision in minutes and cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. With rates as low as 8%. To qualify, be in business at least 1 year. With monthly revenue of at least $50,000. Apply today at switchfunding.com. SWISHfunding.com. Life insurance.
Hang the phone up immediately or throw that mouthpiece in the.
There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay?
Again, music, no rejoin.
Okay.
You hear music, you take over.
okay.
I know you. Whenever I say that, you like to listen to the music first.
Yeah, second.
Find a moment to jump in.
Yeah.
$8 in coverage with no medical.
Come back to that.
Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at GetEtos.com. That's GetEtos.com.
That's get.
All right, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. Call them when you have a text. How about you let us have it?
We do, gentlemen. Someone said, good morning. Once I put a lien on a house for $1,000, how do I force a sale? The house is paid off, but the owner will never sell. Thank you.
Good question.
So what you do is you file your lien, and then once you file your lien, you put them on notice. You're right. The house is paid off. They're probably not going to go borrow money again. They don't worry. The bank's not worried about it. So you have 1 year from the date of filing to file a petition to enforce that lien. You'd actually have to go file suit and to enforce the lien. If it's beyond a year, they can file an action against you to remove the lien and give you 10 days notice to do so. And if you don't, they can have it removed and hit you up for attorney's fees for having it removed because it is past its 1 year deadline. They can do the same thing if you filed the lien improperly. Secondly, once you file suit, if you did it timely and you filed suit properly and you filed suit timely, then you would have to bring an action to enforce the lien. And once you do, then you can get a judgment for that amount. Now, the reality of it is, unless you have a provision in your contract that you had with the homeowner for attorney's fees, you're not going to get attorney's fees by enforcing a lien. So it's probably going to cost you more money to go try to enforce that $1,000 lien, at least in attorney's fees. Now, if you went to a justice of the peace court or something like that, then that would be different. But if you get a judgment, then you can then record that judgment
lien
against the homeowner. And when the property does eventually sell, that judgment will remain on the home for up to 10 years. You have to go with what's called reinscribe the judgment every 10 years, which means you go back to that court and you say, here's a motion to reinscribe it. They have paid nothing towards the payment. I want to reinscribe it for another 10 years. It gets reinscribed for another 10 years. You go then record that judgment again. And, eventually at some point, they will have to pay that $1,000 to you. Once the house is sold,
1 year from the
goes through a succession or whatever the case may be. But that's it in a nutshell. You can't force them to sell the house. With that. Now, you're going to try to. You're going to foreclose on the property for $1,000. You'll spend way more money with a lawyer trying to foreclose than you'll ever get, for your $1,000.
Foreclose on the property.
Again, if you had a $200,000 lien, then that might be.
Chances are, if their house is paid off, they have some money, and they would have to. You could maybe
either that, or they've been, living in the house forever, right? Yeah. And it could be some widower, a widow, in the house, and they just paid the house off over time because they lived there for forever. Again, a $1,000 lien at that point, you might be somewhat out of luck, especially if it's beyond a year from the date the lien is filed.
All right. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you wing lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after brief time out. George
house off over time.
George Benson, affirmation.
Because they lived there for forever.
George Benson. I got that when I was 13 years old. Is that affirmation? What is that? No. Breezing. Affirmation's the third song on that album.
I was thinking, because I want time for it, so I don't think I'll do it here, but I have too much time. I was thinking about doing Funkadelic.
Oh, yeah. George Benson was, they had a, what was the other song on that album? 64 to something? Let me see. Breezing album. 624. That was the New Orleans Jazz themes. They would play the jazz. They would play that during timeouts. Like, it wasn't like it was back, now where you have all that music. So they played over the speaker during timeouts, 624. And they had a song sung by Carole King called Jazz Man, which was their theme song. That was the theme, when Pete Maravich was playing.
Tell them to vote to confirm Pete exit and make our military great again. Paid for by American
Okay. Okay. We'll just get in that. Yeah, just move it back.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. It's always where the heart is. A roof is its shield. That's why for nearly 30 years, homeowners have trusted Garcia Roofing. For more information.
So you're not watching the Pels game later tonight?
Mm-mm.
We play the Celtics.
I can't. It's. What was Zion suspended for? Team rules.
And apparently that wasn't the first instance of that happening recently.
He's just.
He was late to team activities.
He's just.
Was later determined to be a flight, but the other part was that he has been late to other team activities as of.
He's just a piece of.
It's immature, just childish.
He's an overgrown child.
He was supposed to be both the face of the franchise and was going to be the face of the league, and he just can't show up on time to the team flight to go to Philly on Thursday.
That's how we can guarantee.
Have I told you I used to represent Zion's trainer?
What did he say?
I don't know.
If you don't want to say it, don't say it.
Well, I mean,
Don't get in trouble.
no, I'm not. It's nothing that hadn't been reported.
No NDA or whatever.
No, nothing. No, it's nothing that hadn't been reported. But if he spent as much time on the court as strip clubs, he would be one hell of a player.
I mentioned it to you for everyone else, but if he'd already played, I said it before, guys. If he'd already played this final jersey, I would be at the
No.
We're getting closer to getting Super 5 actually, so
Yeah.
Playoff game.
Okay.
That's going to be.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Okay.
Into it. Looking for.
Hey, we're back. Ran long.
Stay tuned to national news, local news. We'll be back. Hour number 2 of All Things Legal as we start our 17th year on WWL, AM, FM, and Odyssey.com. So we're on till 10 o'clock. So stay tuned. National news, local news. We'll be back for hour number 2. See you in about 10 minutes.
All right.
Take it on. They ought to be up wherever you get your mind.
Firefighters are continuing to battle the deadly wildfires in the Los Angeles area, but intense winds persist and are expected to improve around this week, since meteorologist Olga Ospina.
Stronger winds, more widespread as well. That's going to be Monday through Wednesday. So things will finally shift a little bit as we head into later in the week. In fact, not just less wind, we could be talking about a little bit of rain, which would, of course, be very helpful.
As crews work to continue to blaze, as many residents are trying to figure out how to get back on their feet with their homes destroyed. FEMA director told CBS's station their goal is
Luke's insurance company is there and reducing the impact. So they want in a way that makes communities more to lose the insurance barriers. We have to be able to work together with the insurance industry.
The White House says as of yesterday, more than 60,000
companies there and reducing the impact to lose the insurance carrier. We have to be able
to announce this resignation. His findings on two criminal investigations. The president-elect.
Attorney General Merrick Garland has promised to release part of the report on election interference, but a federal judge was appointed by Trump earlier this week. The Department is now appealing. The clock ticking until January 20th. The new Trump administration squashed it entirely. CBS News.
There's optimism about a deal Israel sent a high-level delegation to Qatar, including the head of the Mossad and the Shin Bet, Israel's internal security service, which analysts said was asserting that significant progress has been made toward the ceasefire hostage deal. In the first stage, 34 Israeli hostages, mostly women and the elderly, are due to be released, although Hamas is refusing to say how many of them are still alive. President Trump has warned Hamas that will be held today if the hostages are not released by the time he takes office later this month.
alive.
CBS News
Warned us there will be hell if the hostages are not released.
NFL game today
By the time he gets back later.
CBS Sports HQ. He called his first one about 1 feet. This is CBS News.
Look at O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe even 40, and may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
WWL First News. I'm Chris Dillon. It's chilly this Sunday and rain is in the forecast tonight.
Monday morning starts off cold on both sides of the lake with temperatures near freezing on the north shore and a little bit warmer south. We'll see additional clouds returning this afternoon. Then the rain chances start ramping up into tonight. Storms across the area will be the case through our overnight time frame with improvements by early Monday.
WWL TV meteorologist Brooke Laser will be back with the forecast. Security around New Orleans is getting tighter as Super Bowl week approaches.
We've been planning for this for 2 years. We're ready. Here in New Orleans, we're built to host large-scale events.
New Orleans Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Director Colin Arnold says the Super Bowl security operations will extend into Mardi Gras parade season as well. The Super Bowl is 4 weeks from today, February 9th. That Tuesday is March 4th. The 3 New Orleans police officers who returned fire when Kansas City bar began shooting after crashing a rental truck on Bourbon Street this morning were honored at last night's AFC wildcard game. The Texans and LA Chargers. WWL News' Nick Barrett reports.
The game, the Texans gave Sergeant Nigel Day, Officer Christian Bear, and Officer Jacoby Jordan custom jerseys that have their names on them. The team also thanked them for their brave service.
Just a WWL Sports Update from People Cell. The NFL policies
Oh, buddy.
underway. According to a report by Fox Sports.
Oh, buddy, oh, boy.
What?
We got a good one.
Good text?
Yeah, the Patriots. Vrabel won 3 Super Bowls in New England as a player, and he's already in the franchise's Hall of Fame. Now the Saints have 1 of 5 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. Which advantage the Black and Gold be looking for in their next hire? Jonathan Stinchcomb, a former Saints Super Bowl winning offensive tackle, said New Orleans is a leader of men that commands respect in the locker room. Target the ass.
Oh, it's a good one.
I'm a lawyer.
You are. You probably learn more than most law students.
I think to ask the head coach
would not be good head coach. One of the biggest reasons is for any coach. You want to find good coordinators and build a good staff. It all starts with good coaches in the room.
Probably the basketball. The defending champion Celtics.
games.
February 14th, Valentine's Day. Yep.
So they also play on the Sunday, but I know that you'll cover.
Yes. I almost love LSU baseball as much as football, in a different way. I love listening to on the radio. You know, the rhythm and flow. Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. And it's different. But I mean, I enjoy LSU baseball as much as almost as football. Yeah, they play in.
They play 2 p.m. Friday, 1 p.m. Saturday, and 1 p.m.
Yeah, they're playing in the day during in the fall because it gets a little cold at night. Because you know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have a game on the docket.
I look at the schedule at home. I mean, I always liked, you know, the Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Arkansas. Now you got, I don't know if they're playing Texas or Oklahoma, you know.
They'll play Tennessee at home.
Yeah, Tennessee. Tennessee's that's probably our biggest rival now.
They'll finish with Arkansas at home, Tennessee at home, Garcia at home. They play Texas, but they play them
in Texas. Yeah.
You play UNO and
yeah.
From WW12, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South.
I mean, we got to wait until they don't start SEC play until March.
Yeah.
Confirmed. 12 months. Talking that line, 504-601.
Is it?
Where on the Odyssey app. Now, for Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union Studios in the heart of New Orleans. You are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Sunseri.
Hey, we're back.
Hour number 2. Sunseri and Albert Nicaud, you with lawyers, all things legal. Starting year number 17 on WWL, AM, FM, and Odyssey.com. Albert, before we go into law, just a couple things just address back and forth, just briefly. First of all, Marcus Freeman is the coach of Notre Dame. And when was the last time was he? Do you know the last time he was a participant in a national championship game?
I don't.
Against LSU in 2007 as a linebacker, or 2008 against LSU as a linebacker for Ohio State. So the last national championship game that Marcus Freeman was a participant. He's a player for Ohio State when LSU prevailed over Ohio State for the 2008 national championship. LSU coached by the infamous and favorite of Albert Nicaud, Les Miles. Second, okay, quick take. Get rid of the man-child Zion. He is a cancer that has been metastasized. You know, it's metastasized in the city. I mean, in the team. I think I'm done with him. Just get rid of him. Get somebody to take his contract. He's a man-child.
Let him play for a month and put him on the trading block.
Just get rid of him. Start over again. He has been. And not that I'm going to go into it.
Yep.
I will say this. That his behavior, his first 3 years off the field, off the court, is deplorable. And I know that from personal knowledge, not just from other ways. And it hasn't gotten any better. It just gets worse. And he's a man-child. As soon as we, if you're in a bad partnership, in a bad whatever, you gotta amputate the limb, move on. And they just need to amputate them and get rid of them. Third thing. Now I'm not going to bore you with this too much, but LSU's baseball 33 days. They open up February 14th. So nobody's really talking about LSU basketball either because we're 0-3 in the SEC. Looks like we may be lucky to win five games in the SEC this year. So we're sort of just going from LSU football to LSU baseball, and basketball is not much of an interlude.
However, I do have a beef. My nephew's getting married on the weekend of the finals of the College World Series. And so for the life of me, I don't know why anybody in Louisiana would want to get married on the last weekend of the College World Series, but I'll just have to deal with that.
Sometimes we got to suck it up.
We got to suck it up there. No, congratulations, Nick. I'm just kidding. Congratulations to my nephew, Nick. So we're very happy for you. But so we'll see. LSU baseball, 33 days. Going to be another great season. Looking forward to it. All right. Who do we have? We got a text from Colin. And this is sort of up Albert's alley. So why don't you give us, let's have it.
So someone texted in, they said, situation, 2-member LLC, no operating agreement, operating like a partnership. One member dies without a will. What happens to the LLC? Can it still operate with the surviving member? And would the heirs of the deceased member have any rights? Thanks.
Great question.
There you go. I knew Albert would be all over it. I know you'd be all over it.
Well, it's a great question because I've been running this ad on WWL. It needs to be changed, and I've not had the time to do it, but it will be changed shortly, and it will address this whole issue with LLCs. The big issue is there's something in Louisiana law, and actually nationally really, but in most states with LLCs, and it's something called an assignee. So if someone sells their interest to a third party, or someone dies, a member of an LLC dies, their heirs or that third party become what is called an assignee. And in the definition in Louisiana of an assignee, you basically have ownership rights to that membership interest. However, you have no rights to vote. You have no rights to participate in the management. And more importantly, and this is what I would like to get changed with the legislature, you have no rights to examine the books and records. You can't even ask for a copy of the tax return or bank statement or anything else. You essentially lose all rights. If there is a distribution, you are to get, so let's say you're a 50% owner, there's a distribution, at the end of the year with, we've made this profit, we want to distribute a percentage of this profit, you will get your 50% distribution. However, you have no way of checking one way or the other whether or not you're, getting an accurate distribution or what the expenses were for the other member that were written off through the company and booked as an expense. And so it's a very big deal. Yes, the company can continue to operate. Yes, but what happens is the member that is remaining will pretty much run the show, and again, hopefully, will take care of the widow and the family of the deceased member. But at the end of the day, there's really no promise of that. And I've had situations where it's been that, two brothers owned a business and, they were not getting along, and, they both accused each other of stealing from each other, and then one dies, and the remaining brother then decided, okay, now it's time for me to catch back for what he believed to be, all of the time and money and effort, et cetera, that he put into the company, or that my brother cheated me out of, or whatever the case may be. And so, it was just very hard explaining to the widow, hey, look, you have no rights. You can't even see the books and records. You're stuck. Now, a valid, well thought out operating agreement can take care of all those things. Okay. And then you might ask, why in the law is that an issue? Why can't someone who buys a membership interest, or somebody who inherits a membership interest, why can't they participate in the management of the company and et cetera? Well, Doug, you and I, and it's a little different for you and I, but let's say, Joe and Sue own a company together, and Joe and Sue have been running this company and know everything about it and that. Well, all of a sudden, Sue dies, and Sue's husband Bill decides, I want to jump in and start, managing the company. Well, Bill's got no experience with the company. Bill has no idea what's going on. He's got, he's got no information, because Sue's been running the company all these years. So as a result, the law basically says, look, we're not going to let some spouse come into the business and, start having a vote and running things. We're going to let the people that have been managing the company continue to manage the company. And the funny part is, this is even true. And if it's not a 50-50, let's say I'm just a 10% owner, right? I'm an employee. Employer owns this company. Look, I want you to kind of help manage the company and run things. I'm going to give you a 10% ownership. Okay. And then owner dies without an operating agreement. Mm-hmm. This 10% owner now runs the whole company, and the owner's spouse or family has no membership rights other than ownership of that 90%. So this 10% person can come in, pay himself a bunch of money, expense all of the profits out of the company, and the 90% owner gets nothing. And all of that can be fixed and made, accounted for, in an operating agreement. And it's very important. If you have, you just formed a company and everybody's getting along, well, everybody didn't get along all the time. And so you need to have some contingencies and what ifs and put it in an operating agreement. And then the company is governed by the operating agreement and not by the default provisions of an LLC. And I know that's a $20 answer for a $1 question, but it needs to be brought out to people, because so many people just form an LLC. They'll get on and try, file some form with the Secretary of State and say, okay, we're 60-40 owners. Well, you're not 60-40 owners in terms of distributions or in terms of profits or any of those types of things, unless there's an operating agreement that says so.
Well, because, like the practical aspect of this, let's say you have two partners, one partner passes, and the partner's family is, looking for distributions. From a practical standpoint, the surviving partner who has managerial control over the LLC could just increase their salary and take out all the profit.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You increase your salary, you start expensing out all your vehicles, you start, everything's now a business expense, even if you don't increase your salary. And the worst part is the spouse of the deceased member has no way to prove it. They can't see the books and records of the company to prove whether or not they're getting screwed. And so, that needs to be changed. And again, I've talked to some state reps, and they agree. They said, yeah, you're right. That's a little harsh. Let them at least see if they're getting hammered, and if they are, then give them some rights to come back and say, hey, wait a minute. This is unfair.
Okay, now, Cullen has a follow-up text on that particular issue.
It's from the same individual, and they asked, because they previously mentioned that there was not a will for the dying member, but would a will have made a difference?
No. The will has nothing to do with the company. The company, the owner, or the previous owner, the deceased owner, has a membership interest in an LLC. The LLC determines what happens with that company, not the individual with a will. Now, the individual with the will says, hey, look, I've got Bill, and I've got Joe, and I've got Amy, and those are my three children. Well, Amy and Bill are, off to the races. They're making money. Well, Joe's been working with me in the company. I want to leave my percentage to Joe, right, who knows about the company, who's worked in the company, et cetera. I want to leave my interest in that LLC to Joe. He can do that, but then Joe still steps in as an assignee of that membership interest. And so he's in the same boat as anybody else who is an assignee. So the thing to do is have an operating agreement say, if I die, my heirs become full members of the company, or at least have the right to look at the books and records and make sure, and that your salary hasn't been increased, and you can put some limitations on that. Now, again, what Doug was saying before, I can increase my salary. Well, you know what? If two partners are working together, two members of this LLC are working together, and they both work full time in the company, and then all of a sudden, member A dies, member B says, you know what? I've now got to do member A's work. I'm working twice as hard. I've taken on twice the work that needs to be done for the company. I'm deserving an increase in my salary, right? And at the end of the day, when there's money left over, we'll split it with the heirs or the assignee, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's it. It's a pretty harsh thing. And, even with you've got to set forth an operating agreement, how the distributions are distributed, because, that could be different too. And I've been involved with a company where, they were each, one was a 50% owner, the other two partners were 25% owners. But because the two 25% owners basically ran the business, they each got 1/3 of the distributions. And so that was set forth in an operating agreement that, hey, look, at the end of the day, if this business is sold, I'm a 50% owner, I get 50% of the money. But annually, as we go forward, because you guys are running the show, I make 1/3 of the profits, you guys make 2/3 of the profits. Well, a third each, instead of your 25% each that represents your ownership interest.
Now, I guess one of the things that we often do when you have two individuals, three individuals who want to form an LLC and go into business together is to do what we call to do the operating agreement. And as lawyers, what we do is we ask a lot of what if questions. Okay, what if one of the partners pass? Or one of the what if questions is, let's say the company needs to be further capitalized. What is your obligation to capitalize it in the future?
Big questions, exactly.
And let's go back to the assignee. One technique to sort of maybe force a sale with the assignee or force some type of action to get the assignee out was maybe the managing member would say we need to have a capital call from the assignee.
Right.
They don't have any rights to see where their money is going to go to if there's a capital call. And I think that sort of underscores the importance of having an operating agreement. And I think what we do is we ask a lot of uncomfortable questions because when you go into a business, it's all sort of like unicorns and we're going to make a lot of money. And that's just the assumption. And you sort of looking at it with rose-colored glasses. And often I say, and I don't mean to be, I hate to be pessimistic because that's not my nature. But I do say, 95% of businesses fail at some point, startups. And so, we know you're going to be in 5%, but we have to consider this. And if it does, or you have some issues in connection with you have capitalization problems, you have inability to obtain credit, all these type of issues, allocation of who's supposed to do what, defining your role. If you don't have all those issues sort of hashed out before, that lends itself to problems later. And we sort of equate this to, when young people get married, they'll go through pre-Cana. And one of the questions that
Catholics do, but yeah,
Catholics do. And so, which our pre-Cana type of program. And they'll ask, husband, how many chicks you have on? He might say 8, and the wife says 1. You go, we got an issue here. And you want to resolve those issues before you get married and after, because if you don't resolve them before, they're going to come out 10 times worse after you get married. And same thing with the LLC and the formation of a company. You want to sort of have a consensus as to some of the how to deal with certain the potholes, the challenges of running a business, of sustaining a business. And if you don't have that, a lot of times that's what leads to the conflicts after, because those issues were never discussed before you started.
Yep.
And so, so it's a good idea. It's what does it say? Ounce of prevention.
It's just a great question, though, right? I mean, it's because those are the things that people are shocked by when they learn. Wait a minute, my dad left me this business. I have no control. I have no membership. I have no management interest. I can't even see the books and records. I mean, please.
And it doesn't mean
that news, but
it might not be necessarily your primary business. It might be that you have a partner who invests in real estate on the side, and you would have questions as to if one partner dies, do we take in money to improve the property, or do we sell the property, or do we keep it like it is? All those type of questions. And if you don't have that defined before on how to deal with these circumstances of business, circumstances of life, chances are you're going to be walking into our office and trying to have a resolution. And I will say this, that in these type of cases, when you have two business partners who are at odds, or maybe a business partner in their estate, I always say the winner is the one who loses the least. There are no winners. It is whoever can mitigate their loss is probably the best you can do. So let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out. Now, who was that?
Funkadelic, I told you.
All right. Man, you are going deep. You're going to the bottom of the Pacific.
Huh?
You're going to the bottom of the Pacific.
Yes. You got to remember, when I very first got my start in the music side of radio, it was soul music.
Yeah.
Yes. And I knew nothing, and then I got stuck with a gig that was soul music, and I had to learn on the job.
Games like a pro.
And I've learned so much. I don't know, but what's the echo coming through your side?
I turned off. Let me turn off your YouTube.
I'm still.
Oh, you know what? It might be. Let me see.
Because I was still hearing it. It's whatever album was making. Whatever. I don't know if I don't think it's that your head. I don't think it's like you're nice too loud and your head's picking it up.
Okay, is that better? Test. Test.
I don't hear it all that much, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus in 2012, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for higher learning and work experience. Or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
At Duplessis Builders, we know getting a pool is a big commitment. We believe our pool owners deserve extra customer service, extra attention to detail, and an extra 9 years on their warranty compared to the industry standards. For an extraordinary pool in your backyard. For details, go to duplessisbuilders.net. Look through our extensive gallery of high-end pools. Then, get your free quote. That's duplessisbuilders.net. Anybody can build an average pool. At Duplessis Builders, we build extraordinary pools. Get your extra today.
From Botox to tummy tucks, choose Wire and Plastic Surgery Group Side Out.
Hey, it's Tommy in an hour with Dr. Nod over at G&O Snoring and Sinus changed my life. It's been 9 years since my sinuplasty procedure and still no persistent stuffy nose, headaches, or sinus drips. G&O Snoring and Sinus accepts Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, and Medicare Advantage plans.
If you have any problems with sleep apnea, sinus issues, snoring, or breathing in general, please go to GNO Snoring and Sinus and see how 1 hour can change your life. To learn more, go to gnosnoring.com. That's gnosnoring.com. Bobby Air, KG Cannon here. Hey, football fans, buckle up, because for the first time ever, we've got 5 straight days of playoff football in college and the pros. And FanDuel is celebrating with a great playoff payoff. There's a no-sweat same-game parlay every day for all 5 days. With a no-sweat FGP, you can buy your bets for the same game for a chance at even bigger winnings. And if it doesn't hit, you get bonus bets back. So not only do we get to watch 5 straight days of playoff football, but that's also 5 chances to win big. Just visit FanDuel.com/Hebert to be a part of this epic run. That's FanDuel.com/Hebert. That's HEBERT. It's a great playoff payoff, and it's only on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Permanent parishes only. Opt-in required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
You know about Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
Oh.
1-877-770-STOP.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Eddie Pendergrass. Yeah, that's why. But my incredible name.
Teddy, what's that big one? The The Love You Lost.
Oh, dude.
The Love You Lost. Love. That's the best one. Love You Lost.
This attorney Doug Sunseri, host of All Things Legal on Sunday mornings.
This is attorney Michelle Demarest Sunseri. Many are experiencing unique family law difficulties resulting in divorce and custody issues.
Also, we learn the importance of estate planning, wills, and powers of attorney.
At Nicaud Sunseri Law Firm, we make the complex understandable.
Call me in my Metairie office at 504-837-1304.
Or call me, the boss lady, on the North Coast in Mandeville at 985-624-9697. 5-624-9697.
Boss lady, really?
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is 1-6. Call 475-2323. Kelly 16-797.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information.
The Patriots just announced that they're signing Vrabel.
Yeah, that was a done deal. That's why.
Dude, a blind man could have seen that coming.
Well, as soon as they confirmed, they fired Mayu as soon as they confirmed Vrabel was coming.
I don't think he was great, but one and done. I always hate seeing one and done.
I think you can see things. If you're experienced, you could see things that aren't going in the right direction.
It just sucks because like my philosophy, like if you want Vrabel, like did the stars just not align last year? Like what's going, you know?
Well, I think if you're astute, you can see something's not going to work early on, and it's better to cut your losses rather than trying to make something that's not going to work. And I think Mayo's. It just takes a very unique skill set.
Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nico and Sunseri now on the Oakwood Art Jewelers Talk.
Give the song a second after the rejoin.
1-870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Give a second. Wait for it.
All right, we're back to Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Teddy Pendergrass. That used to come out your speakers at the old par fours every once in a while, huh, Albert?
Maybe not that one, but yeah, we played a little tennis like a crash.
There you go. Oh, I think the thing at the old par fours, I think the most repetitively played song was "Play That Funky Music, White Boy." That's my memory of walking into your own.
I got more involved, when I had ownership in the mid-'80s, and it was a lot of Paula Abdul and the Silver Band crew, But yeah, it was a fun place. Back, Aaron and I were next door at the Bulldog last night for some friends' 60th birthday party, and it was out
Oh, that's beautiful.
They got a great patio out there, big screen TVs, and it was nice.
Well, in fact, they used to have Scotty Craig used to be next door at the Parkway Tavern, and so you go back and forth. And I actually lived a block and a half away from there, so I fully complied with the law. Yeah, behind Deluxe Cleaners, which is after 83 years is closing as of this year. But so I would fully comply with the law after maybe having an adult beverage or two, because I just had to make it a block and a half home and make it home. So there you go. We're talking about. That's very strategic. That's right. So the first thing I asked, what bars are within walking distance, and that was a great selling point. Talk a little bit about LLCs. Why don't we do this? What is the difference between a corporation and an LLC, and why do most people form LLC for smaller business ventures?
Well, from a technical standpoint, corporation has a lot of requirements with just corporate meetings and shares and subscriptions and all of things, whereas an LLC has much more ease of operation. Basically, anything you really have to do is without all these formalities, without taking corporate minutes. Now, if a good idea is a good idea to kind of memorialize all of we agreed to buy this crop, and if we how much we want to spend on it, these three members voted yes, this one voted no. Yeah, it's probably a real good idea. But in terms of what's called piercing the company veil or corporate veil, it is a lot harder to do with respect to an LLC, because you don't have rules of undercapitalization. If you come in with a $500 and you form a corporation and you create some sort of liability.
We got a caller. I'd say let's take it here. It's Bobby from St. Bernard. We got a question regarding a tenant case, an issue with a tenant not allowing him. He's like owner of property. The tenant isn't allowing him to come in and check for maintenance. He's been there 6 years. Takes up on time, but
now
Thanks, Bobby.
So
my company
piercing the veil is getting
loans
issue. Whereas in an LLC, the only real issue you have in terms of piercing the company veil would be commingling. If for all those types of things, right? But from a commingling fund, if you and I did this once before. I got a judgment against the defendant, and we did what's called a judgment debtor examination, where we examined the books and records, and I'm looking at the books and records of the LLC, and this guy was paying out of the LLC, and he's applying dresses, the dress barn, what was doing all these things, and so all of a sudden we said, well, we're piercing the company veil, because this company, the company are not too concerned about the individual nature of this LLC, because you're just writing checks. Essentially another individual who is, on behalf of your personal thing. And the way to do it is you write a check to yourself and make a distribution to yourself. And then from there, you write the check to the dress barn and whatever else. And so you don't ever commingle those funds. Mostly on J. Brown with respect to, someone else's accredited ability to pierce the company.
Yeah, and
of course, most we're not taxed,
we want to see
but the whole tax
Brown.
inside. One of the biggest reasons why you would want to not be a corporation and be an LLC is
double tax. Yeah.
Tax rate for the individual shareholder as an LLC is what's considered pass-through taxation. He's different rates.
As an LLC.
Yeah.
You don't pay a company tax, right, or a corporation. You pay only if you pay at the end of the year. You get what's called K1. And your K1 is a member of the LLC. You get your distribution proceeds through or losses. You don't set forth on that.
Don't pay.
And then that's what you pay based on your own tax rate. The company does not pay taxes. So it avoids that double taxation.
Yeah, and
there's something also called an only election, a subchapter F election, which has a whole lot of other means. At the end of the year, one issue of taxation is that it's called people are unaware of it. The members are not really allowed to take a salary. They take what is called a guaranteed payment. And so they get these payments paid to them, but they can't take taxes out. They can't do those types of things. Payments paid is becoming subchapter F corporation.
And take it.
Or have people call them take a tax election, right, for tax purposes. And then the members can pay the salary. The LLC can pay the employee portion of the labor burden and write that off as an expense of the company. And then at the end of the day, you're stuck with both sides of the employer, the FICA, those are the benefits that are required on payroll tax.
And yeah. Yeah, we just sound like we pretend to be CPAs, but we're not. Okay, and so one other thing on corporations, there's 3 levels of authority: board of directors, officers, and shareholders, and the LLC. They're all combined in one as members. So let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out. Okay, Bobby from St. Bernard.
We'll take a look at the week ahead on Wall Street. Monday morning markets with Mark Rosa, President and CEO of Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union. And a whole lot more to join us. Tommy Tucker, always local, original, and entertaining. Monday through Friday, 6 till 10 a.m. right here on WLAMFM.com and that Odyssey app. You own a timeshare, don't miss a public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Westwood Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, quitting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want to have your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Westwood Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Was one of the most focused men you ever met in your life.
You owe money to the IRS.
You wrote in one of your books that Arnold was one of
She rents it from him. He basically, she pays her rent on time, but anytime he wants to do maintenance and wants to check up on stuff, he noticed recently that there's a couch on the roof that apparently her son put up. And he was like,
With kids.
damage. I can't remember if he said or not that if he did check under the apartment, saw that there was damage, and wants to get inside the property, check for other maintenance.
Okay.
But she's making up excuse.
Get back on track. Call 985-722.
His property.
GoTaxResolution.com.
And the house is located in the same
resolution.
Gotcha.
So I'm over here
On the,
searching for a book. The first time I was
less than you spend on Bella's Dog Walker and Glam Squad every week. Get one line on unlimited. I knew something to get my time to back and get one. And I'll do music every line of nation and unlimited. $50 per month. We thought it was a suggestion. Unlimited 5G.
Yeah.
We all hear the radio.
This is just.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to put you with a calm. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car at work or with your
They get their two big stars back.
800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you want to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,500 and 8+ with a better business deal. What should the IRS any longer? End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city.
Hey, we'll come back. Again, music no return.
You're the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard.
5, 4, 3,
KACY. Follow your local news station.
Hey, we're back. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Bobby from the parish in St. Bernard. What you got for us, Bobby?
Good morning. We've heard that in their old situation, you always pay the rent on time. That's not a problem. But we seem to have a problem letting us know little things wrong with the house. And we talked to her about a month ago up there, and I noticed a blue cough dangling from the roof. And when I finally got a hold of her 2 days later and asked about it, she said, "Oh, it must have blew up there." Well, we checked our roofer guy up there and found out there was a snails up there. And we've been trying to get her to get in the house so we can inspect the inside. Because when I asked about it, she said, "Well, the deal is kind of like got a little weed to this." And for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, she's been putting us on OSHA. What to do with all of this. So what we want to know is, she's done this in the past where something small goes on in the past with something. We have a right to go in there and she says no, that she's at home, she does have a pet, so we can inspect the damage. I passed there at her home, but they don't know at home yet. We don't know what to do. So we.
Can you ever execute a lease with her?
Okay, and that's what we want to do. We collected on that a week ago, and we told that's what we told her. We need to get in there. See that there was the ceilings and that. She said, "Oh, okay. Well, that's how you know my daughter would have to be rushed to the hospital with that bruise. She had to go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right. Then you have a lease. It is the lease term, meaning that let's say you did a year's lease, right? And did she have to renew every year? Does she have options? She's been in there 6 years. So did you execute a lease? Now the lease is expired, but it's month to month at that point? We don't know what to do.
Did you ever execute a lease with her?
So we extended our lease to say that she can have the dogs.
Okay. You have a current lease. Go back and look at the lease
back and look at the lease, see what the parties agreed to. A written contract, including a lease, is the law between the parties. So it will be enforced by the courts, the budget. So go back and look at the lease, see if you have that right to inspect. And tell them, listen, we have the right to inspect if it has it in there. We have the right to inspect. Otherwise, continue to push it. My guess is the value of the rent is probably undervalued in terms of the amount of rent. I have some rental properties, and I'm certain that my rents are undervalued. I don't get top dollar for it. They've been in there a while. One guy's got 5 kids. I'm wanting to raise the rent on. And so what happens, I've learned, is that they don't want to notify me if there's an issue because they don't raise the rent on. Oh, these tenants are a pain in the butt. I'm going to go ahead and raise the rent. And so that may be the issue. She may be a hoarder, right? If she's elderly, who knows? She may have all kinds of stuff in there that you would object to. So I would make, and you're lucky because your timing is good. The lease comes up again in February. So you're telling, look, you need to get in there by Monday, whatever day. If we don't, we're not going to renew this lease with you. And we're gonna get in there and fix the place up and rent it to somebody else. So, now all of a sudden she's gonna be faced with, eviction, well, not eviction, but at least
not having a place.
Renewal of the lease. And so that would probably put a lot of pressure on her to
put you in. Okay, and if you got any further questions, just call us at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304. Let's go to our final break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We'll be right back. Okay. About like 30, but yeah, just let me know. I don't think we'll have time now, huh? Will we have time? We won't have time now, huh? Yeah, I know we're over. I think we're over. Just tell them. Just tell them to call next week.
Yeah, no, I'm saying we might be over because.
I know. I think we're over because it's going to be too. I'm looking 9:55, and it'll take too long. That's all right. We're okay. I'd rather just sort of go out easy rather than try to cram something in and get out.
No, I'm saying that, I think we're. Oh, dude, yeah, we're over about 10 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
This is a big break. I want to say, we would be back at that might be it. That might be the show.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're done. So we'll just.
It's 9:56, and this break still is another 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
So we're done. You guys are good.
Okay.
Sorry to see it, but it happens.
If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep.
I gotta reconcile with the law.
Yeah, no time.
And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The real MVPs of the New Orleans Super Bowl host committee are these businesses, our most valuable partners that have stepped forward with their support and to make hosting New Orleans' record-high 11 Super Bowl a super success. Special thanks to our founding partners, Energy and Chevron, and the following host committee sponsors: The Time 50U and NOAA.com, Racing Caves, Dow Chemical, Venture Global, and Hancock Whitney Bank. Thank you for graciously supporting the New Orleans Super Bowl host committee.
Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store. Visit the store for a free test walk in Mandeville in the northwest corner of Highway 190 and 22, or in Metairie on Veterans Memorial, or at goodfeet.com.
5 years, 10 years? How many years are you from retirement? Let Burns Estate Planning and Wealth Advisors help guide you and take the guesswork out of retirement. You've worked hard. Now let Burns Estate Planning and Wealth Advisors help you plan your next chapter. BurnsWealthAdvisors.com. Attention small business owners needing financing. Switch Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business. All right,
Albert's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reconcile.
How much time we got?
We have no time.
Okay. So in and out?
No, I mean like we have no time. We're done.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I'm having I have to do some stuff with the vlog to make sure that we are.
So we're not saying goodbye.
I've got to do some stuff with the vlog. We'll miss I'll miss the first 10 seconds or so of what do we call it?
CBS News.
CBS News, but I can do that manually.
Okay, so anyway, you don't want me to come back and say see you next week.
There is literally no time.
Like 10 seconds?
I mean, there's literally no time. We went over. Like that's the point.
Yeah. Okay.
It was kind of clock suspension minimum. I thought we had a bit more time, but apparently, and Albert was just telling me, he was like, make the music a little louder. I guess it wasn't loud enough for him. No, I do it less. I gotta pipe that up a whole lot.
Available at rejuvenatemedical.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe even 40, and may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider.
I'll miss the first 10 to 15 seconds of news, but I'll be here. Yeah.
Okay.
We've gotten out before it's been tight, but I think I miscalculated how much time we had.
Gotcha.
I thought this last break was like 4 minutes. It wasn't. It's actually 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
So you're done. That's
Okay.
Next Sunday you can throw me under the bus. You
No.
can tell them you're not getting that damn raise.
No. All right, buddy. All right.
We're on next week,
So see you next. Gotcha. All right. I will.
I'll be better about getting you guys out on time.
No big deal. Albert doesn't know when to stop. So.
And I never like to
Start cranking up
tell
the.
him like you do because you're good about like if I tell you, you don't stop talking to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
He'll stop talking to
Yeah.
me. And then when I stop, once he like compartmentalizes and he's like, okay, go on, only 20 seconds. He'll like go back and there's a like gap of silence where he like thinks.
Yeah.
This sounds bad.
But you ought to get on the restream and just tell him need to get out in 10 seconds.
Does he look at that?
Yeah, he looks at it.
Okay.
So just tell him to do that.
I'll do that.
Okay. All right. See you. Talk to you next week.